And Johnny, let's close out the podcast. Take a look at, this is a topic, I will be completely honest. This is I am being selfish, and this is a me topic.
Yeah, it is.
This is a me topic, as Johnny, I know you are not the most diehard fan of James Bond.
I only play the games.
Yeah, and I am. I like James, as though I'm not like as big of a fan as Brandon Swanson, who is, I would say, a diehard James Bond fan, goes and sees all of them when they come out with his dad.
I'm sorry, why isn't he on this topic then?
I do love, because Brandon's Brandon, and Brandon's got a tough schedule.
Okay.
And he's only on What's Your Fantasy. But we are talking about James Bond because this is something I wanted to talk about, more so because of the topic of I'm becoming more and more open to the idea that James Bond does not need, like, James Bond isn't a guy. Like, it's not
a title.
like that is James Bond. It is like, well, you know what? Anybody could be James Bond. And the thing I want to ask you, Johnny, is, yes, it's a title. That means anyone could be James Bond. How would you feel personally?
Unlike Thor. Thor's not a title.
Thor's not a title. Thor's a person.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
As we've said, Lady Thor. But the thing I will ask you is, do you think we are ready as a society, as a culture? I know we asked this with Idris Elba before, because he was in talks to being James Bond. Are we ready for a female 007, a female James Bond?
It's 2019, dude. Have an open mind. No. Yeah, no, I think we could be ready. I don't see why not. I mean,
Johnny goes full meme on me before giving his answer.
It's 2019, no. It's ma'am.
Yeah, it's ma'am.
Sorry. I had to throw that one in there.
But no, go ahead.
Why not? Give me a decent answer of why not. Yes, they've all been male in the past. Why can't it be a female? Why can't it be someone that's not a white male? Mm-hmm. And this isn't me being millennial, because I don't like avocado. We're millennials. I don't like avocado on my toast.
Yeah, but we're millennials.
I know we are, but I'm not going full millennial. It's just a 007, just like you stated earlier. It's a title. It's not like, oh, you're just 007 no matter what.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
It could be anyone.
Before I give my answer, we are not just millennials, Johnny. We are elder millennials.
There you go.
Because you want to know why we're elder millennials? We know what a landline is.
Oh shit.
We remember the cord phone.
How about dial-up?
Before the cordless phone.
How about that dial-up?
Remember how cool it was when it was like, holy shit, your family doesn't just have a landline. It's got a cordless phone. Like, I could take the phone off the receiver, and I can walk around the entire house and talk to you on the phone.
I'm not stuck in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm not stuck to this little box that's on the wall sometimes, because in the kitchen, it was usually on the wall.
We also are the ones that knew about dial-up.
Exactly. We're playing Warcraft online, and Mom's got to make a call, so I got to get off the computer, guys, because Mom's got to make a call.
Or Mom doesn't realize you're in the middle.
She just starts beep, 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 beep.
Oh, no. Mom doesn't realize you're in the middle of researching something for your paper at school.
Yeah.
And she picks up the phone and... What the hell? I just found this.
Really? Did yours shut off when you picked up the phone?
It just froze and stopped.
Really?
Yeah. Because
which internet did you have back then?
AOL?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember AOL, like, if someone picked up that phone, you got knocked off.
I don't remember. I know we had what was called CompuServe. I think we had AOL, and then we switched to CompuServe. I remember we had that.
I don't know.
All I know ours was just if you went to pick up the phone while I was on the internet, all you heard was and it was like I remember higher pitch than that.
I remember that too, but like then it would knock me off the internet.
It was just like, hey, get off the phone or get off the internet, or I'm gonna. Once you started dialing, it would knock you off.
Maybe that's what was happening. Someone else would pick it up, start dialing, and then just knock me off.
That's your first reaction is to start dialing. Or the great parts of you'd be on the phone with someone, and someone would pick up the other phone and just start dialing. Beep, beep, beep. I'm on the phone. Oh, sorry. And then they'd hang up. But back to the topic that we were actually talking about. I am sitting here going, and here's the thing when it comes to, this is also the, like, I don't know if this is wrong of me to have this opinion. And if it is, call me out for it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm going to call you out.
But I feel like more so with this conversation of the female 007 compared to the... you know what? I'm going to take back what I'm going to say. Because originally I was going to say more so with this one compared to like the Idris Elba one of like, are we ready for a different race of James Bond? With the female version, I really look at, okay, the person, the actress you get to play James Bond has to really fit the role. Like, I have to see them in that. More so them, and I don't know if it's in my mind a guy-girl thing of why I'm thinking that. That's why I'm throwing out, if that's a wrong opinion for me to have, call me on it. But I mean, for me, I look at, because like the article that I sent for like the base for us, they had 10 in there that they could see. And it's like, there are some, like, the ones that I actually know. Emilia Clarke would be interesting because, yes, she was Sarah Connor in Terminator, but, like, yes, she was Sarah Connor in Terminator. Yes, she was in Han Solo, A Star Wars Story.
Yeah.
And she's also got the Daenerys Targaryen chops as well. I just, with her, I don't know if I see her as 007. And that's mainly because, like, if you look
haven't seen her in a role like that.
Well, I think it is predetermined by what I've seen from James Bond, where take race out of it, just James Bond in general has been kind of like of course it's a ladies' man because he's a dude.
Suave
like,
ladies' man.
Exactly. And even like the, like, very like, not... classy, I want to say, but I don't want to say that because it's not like a girl can't be classy. But, like, there's a certain aura about James Bond that, like, I feel like the woman coming in, yes, put your own spin on it because you'd be the first female 007, but it's not like I'll throw this out there. It's not like I'm going to get Rebel Wilson to play James Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that just would not fit. The one from this article that I think would be, to me, my number one, the most interesting and my number one pick is Lauren Cohen. Maggie from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. I was just thinking.
She is the one where I look at her and I think about her as what Maggie developed in The Walking Dead. And I just think to myself, I'm like, man, I could, if they casted her as James Bond or as 007, I could see her being a really good female 007 for the James Bond franchise.
No, I agree with you. I can see it because, like, Emilia Clarke's is a little like maybe not. It's same with like, there's not a lot of names I like no on here.
Yeah.
And Daisy Ridley, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen her or anything like that before.
I don't know.
So, like, I don't know how her acting chops of that is. And what I go off of in my head is what I want to see to kind of get that James Bond. Because, I haven't really seen the movies. I've seen little snippets here and there. I've seen a shit ton of other things about it.
Really, though, if you've seen the snippets, you get an idea of who James Bond is.
If I'm thinking about it, if I'm what I would go off if you're going to do a female James Bond, think about Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, especially like that one scene in the beginning of Avengers where she's gets on the phone and goes, "He's giving me everything." Like, she's like acting all dumb, innocent.
You're talking about how when she ties the guy to the
when she's tied to the chair, and she's interrogating them, and it's like, and then she puts on the phone. It's like, he's giving me everything. He goes, I'm not giving her everything, right? It's like, that's what I want to do. She's acting dumb and innocent and playing along with, like, exactly what it's Anne Hathaway, I believe, in the one with Rebel Wilson in that movie.
Hustle that's coming out this week.
Exactly. It'd be like, it's the same thing. The Hustle, like, hey, play to what men think.
I like shiny things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like those two things combined. I would see, like, that's how you want to play it out as a female James Bond.
You know, I could, like, part of me, and that's, like I said,
the
part
seductress.
of me is just exactly, where, that's actually a good point, where I feel like a female James Bond could do that, where a male James Bond couldn't.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to see Pierce Brosnan play dumb because no one expects the male James Bond to play dumb. And, like, Sean Connery, like, the martini shaken, not stirred.
Yeah, it has to be basically it has to be, for the male, it has to be suave and charismatic, whereas the female actually has to be sort of a seductress and a different way of being a James Bond.
A different way of thinking.
Different way of playing about it. Overall, same concept, but it needs to be like, she's going to play at all these things differently than a normal James Bond would. Or a male James Bond would, normal.
Thinking about it, Emilia Clarke I couldn't see. Mainly because, yes, I liked her in Solo, a Star Wars story. But
shame on me for not seeing it yet.
Hers, I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah. I see way too much of Daenerys in her.
Yeah.
To where... I'm not saying that she couldn't do it. I just see way too much of Daenerys in Emilia Clarke, naturally, because Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But, like, she's one to where it's like, I would have to see what she would be like as that.
I would put her on the list. It's just she's kind of like, I have to see her more in a role like that. Because she's done little hints of it in there where she's kind of like played around with people. But overall, it's like, no, I don't see her as the top list for me so far of a James Bond or a 007.
And like most of these that, honestly, I'll be honest, most of the ones on this article that I keep flipping through is basically, so they put Emilia Clarke on there because she'd been in Terminator, which is an action movie.
Yeah.
They put Claire Foy on there because she was in The Girl in the Spider Web, which is kind of an action thriller.
They have Charlize Theron from Atomic Blonde.
Yes, I was gonna get to her. Like,
sorry,
she was
jumped the gun on you then.
But that's fine. Like, she's in Atomic Blonde. You've got Thandai Newton, who Mission Impossible 2 and the Chronicles of Riddick. Priyanka Chopra. Hope I said that right. Hers is the most interesting one because she was in the Baywatch movie. And she played the villain in that movie. With that, I could see that being like, okay, she could be that seductress kind of one because having that villainous chops, you kind of have to have that seductiveness to be a good villain because you have to learn, you got to know how to play the protagonist in what you're going through. And that's like Daisy Ridley. Really,
haven't seen that.
Really, like, her biggest thing right now is that what she's going to have to get over after this last Star Wars movie is not typecasting, but she's almost going to have to do the same thing that Emilia Clarke is going to have to do. Is, like, in my mind, when I see Daisy Ridley, I see Rey from Star Wars. Once Star Wars is over, obviously, she's going to have to kind of not reinvent herself, but kind of prove like, hey, I'm not just Rey from Star Wars. I'm Daisy Ridley. I'm a good fucking actress.
Exactly.
Where Emilia Clarke after Game of Thrones, yes, she's been in other stuff, but she's going to have to be like, hey, I am not just Daenerys Targaryen. I'm Emilia Clarke. I'm a good actress.
Right now...
And she kind of did that with Solo, a Star Wars story, in my mind. But then, like the other ones you mentioned from Atomic Blonde, Lauren Cohen, it's just because of, like, she was in Mile 22, which was an action film, but her work on The Walking Dead as well. The interesting one is Naomie Harris, because I will ask you this. How ironic would it be if, like, with Naomie Harris, the end of Skyfall, which is a Bond movie, they seem to be setting up her to be the star of the franchise. I'll read it right here. The end of Skyfall seemed to be setting up Naomie Harris as a female star in the franchise. We saw her involved in all the action scenes, even though she did accidentally shoot Bond with a sniper rifle. We saw her travel the globe to all the exotic locations Bond went to, even though she did end up sleeping with him. What kind of a twist do you think it would be in the story is if they made, let's say, and this actress aside, they made the girl to be Bond. She was a Bond girl in like a past film. Not the actress, the character. So it's like, yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I was working with him in that movie. They liked it, like, not MI6. Is it MI6? Basically, British intelligence. Liked her so much, because obviously they keep tabs on everything, that they then recruit them to be 007 because Bond, the original Bond, is hanging up the holster.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. That would be kind of cool to, like, hey, yeah, we like you said, we liked you so much, and you've kind of proven yourself. We want you to be the next 007.
Yeah, I mean, and then the one that I did want to throw out there, Emily Blunt. I just, with me, I look at Emily Blunt and I just go, I don't see James Bond, and I don't know, like, that has nothing to do with her, like, acting chops, has nothing to do with what she's been in, because the resume speaks for herself. She's been in Edge of Tomorrow. She's been in Sicario. She's been in The Girl on the Train, which are all action movies. But when I look at her, I just don't see James Bond. And I've been proven in movies before, like, hey, I don't think they're going to be good for this role. And then they fucking knock it out of the ballpark. And you're like, well, you proved me wrong. That's the only one where I know that Screen Rants has her at 1, but I go, I don't know how she'd be as a Bond. Here's the last thing I want to ask you, though, with this.
Okay.
And get your opinion in on this. Is female 007, black 007, Hispanic 007, Asian 007, how close are we, in your mind, how close are we until we see a non-white or non-male James Bond in a movie? Are we far? Are we, like, is it distant future? Is it medium future? Is it short future? Do you think we will see a non-white male as James Bond sooner or later in our lifetime?
I'm hoping it's medium to short because, I mean, come on. I mean, you have so many potential other actors that aren't just white males that you aren't tapping into that could probably do the role. Like we talked about Idris Elba, I would be down to seeing him as that. Some of these female actresses, like I said, it's not about what type of person, like if you're male, female, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever it is, it's not about what you are, it's how you portray the role. So that's what I want to see. I want to see more actors and actresses and finally make it like, make it a mantle.
Because, like, to this point, it's been probably in my lifetime, the Bond that got the most flack was Daniel Craig. But that was before he started acting. Like, I know my dad was one where when Daniel Craig was cast as Bond, my dad even said he doesn't look like my dad was like, he doesn't look like a Bond to me. He looks like more of a Russian spy. Than a James Bond.
I'll be honest with you, he's right. He's right, though.
It's like, because you think about all the Bonds up to Daniel Craig, you've got Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan. Like, these are guys where it's like they fit the either like British look or kind of like American British look. I know Bond is British, so that's why I want to keep it to that British look.
Yeah.
But like Daniel Craig, like he said, he goes, yeah, he kind of looks like a Russian spy, not a MI6, not a British intelligence agent for the UK. So, I mean, if Daniel Craig could kind of break that mold, because I think now, fourth movie in, I think this is Daniel Craig's fourth Bond movie, that he can basically, if he can break that, why can't someone else break the mold of, hey, not being a white male?
It would be more of the they have to decide to cast someone like that, and maybe more so break the societal hang up of it, as opposed to wait for society's hang up to kind of falter out. Just hit it, get like, okay, we're gonna pay enough for a good actor or actress to portray the role that we know can do, show the chops for it, and just like kind of break that for society and like, okay, yeah, no, okay, it was a good Bond.
I think the other thing too with it, and this is the last thing I'll say, is story-wise, it's going to need some, because you can't just, like, what you could do in the other movies is pick up with another actor, like from Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig, because it's like, but also, again, it's like they're not in a timeline like the MCU. Mm-hmm. They can just be snapshots of 007 over his career. But, like, I feel like there has to be a little bit of explanation if you go with a non-white male 007, because, like, the other times you can just say, no, this is 007, like, whatever. They kind of Hulk it with, what's his name, Ruffalo.
Well, I mean, wow, okay, just jump to that word right away. Mm-hmm. Screw it, just go and actually say what we've said before.
You're going to say, but fuck it.
Yeah, honestly, I'll say it. But fuck it. You know what? Just do what we said to say, basically, and say, you know what? All these years, it's just been a name and a mantle. Yeah. Hell, James Bond could just have been a code name.
Basically.
Like, hey, I'm Bond. Yeah. James Bond. Yeah, that's not your real name, though.
And they could even make fun of that, too, where if it's a female, name's Bond. James Bond. Doesn't really fit you. Yeah, I know, but I can't get him to change it.
Exactly. You can make that joke.
Like, or like if the female Bond, just call me Bond. What's your first name? James Bond. Like, playing into don't call me James, just call me Bond. Yeah. Or 007, that'll work. Or if they introduce hey, and I don't know if this will make Bond fans mad, but I'm throwing this out as an idea. What if then they introduce, okay, because we've never had to deal with this yet, if it's a female version, it's not James Bond, it's Jamie Bond.
Jamie Bond or Jane Bond?
Jane Bond works better. I like that.
Yeah, I like Jane Bond.
Jane Bond because it keeps that same syllable going. Like Jamie Bond adds an extra syllable.
Yeah, it's Jane Bond.
Yeah, Jane Bond.
Because what I thought about is like there's a John Doe.
It actually fucking works really good. I like that.
It's kind of like a John Doe Jane Doe thing is how I got that. It's like,
ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
John Doe, Jane Doe, so James Bond, Jane Bond.
Yeah. Fits the syllables. You don't really get my name.
I really fucking like that.
You're welcome.
But any final thoughts before we wrap up this podcast?
No, I say, you know what? It's just the studio has to go, you know what? Screw like any societal hangups that might still be out there about it. Because a lot of people are going to be accepting of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there will be, in my mind, some hardcore Bond fans that go, no, this is James Bond. This is what it is. But eventually,
if you do it right, you'll break them too.
Yeah,
go, okay,
exactly.
no, they'll eventually go, okay, actually, it was a good movie.
Well, it was like, oh fuck, what am I thinking?
You're gonna get the hashtag Not My James Bond.
Yeah, well, Not My James Bond. We've also had the Not My Batman. For some of the Batmans, Tom Holland when he first got cast as Spider-Man. Because everyone wanted Tobey Maguire
or Andrew Garfield
to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, the same thing when Andrew Garfield became Spider-Man. It's like hashtag Not My Spider-Man.
Well, because those Sam Raimi movies are so loved.
Yeah, well,
beloved, I should say.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: it's just anytime
Johnny doesn't like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Not as much as the Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti Rhino.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I'll take Sandman Spider 3 over Paul Giamatti Rhino.
He dusted first.
Yeah. I'm the Rhino here. I'm Paul Giamatti.
I fully admit I fucking hate that scene.
I'm Paul Giamatti, man.
That's what happens when you don't.
I'm wearing a
Dago T.
Yeah, a Dago T wife beater in this big mech suit. Come on.
You either say wife beater or Dago T. You just said the same thing twice.
Yeah,
Mr. Redundancy.
I said them both. They're both really bad words to say about a white shirt, so I just said them both. But basically, like, that scene is horrible.
Well, that's what happens when you don't listen to Feige.
But Spider-Man 3 was not great also.
Yeah.
Like, but I'll take...
The Spider Dance?
But I'll take Dancing Spidey over Paul Giamatti as Rhino any day. I'll take evil symbiote Dancing Spider-Man. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section. What are your thoughts on a female James Bond? How close are we to it? Do you want to see it? How would you make it work in the James Bond universe? Let us know what you guys think down below. And then also make sure to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Most Valid Podcast. That's how you help the show, help MVP. Our big goal for 2019 is to get us a new studio, and we need your help to do that. Obviously, patreon.com/Most Valid Podcast. Also, go ahead and rate and review the podcast on iTunes. 5-star ratings really help us out, and they get us in the ears of more people. And then last but not least, our tweeters, as I am at Ricky Widmer, Johnny is at War Machine 9085, and then Most Valuable Pod is our Most Valuable Podcast is at Most Valuable Pod. I want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube, although the camera went we went a little bit longer than the camera. That's why I can look the other way, and you can't see my head right now as I'm looking at the back of the studio. But thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for also listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.